All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Well. Hey, man, it has begun. All right, and as you can see in the article, the brother, I just put it in the chat not too long ago. Okay, but I mean, it was bound. Articles like this were bound to come out, sooner or later, with this whole high school kids versus so-called Native American dude, which brothers already brought out that he was an agent. Okay, and now we can already see how in the beginning, just right off the bat, they're already starting to switch the attention from um those the so-called confrontation between the two to now the Israelites. Okay, and now guess what, don't be surprised when you start seeing CNN talking about Israelites. You start seeing MSNBC, all of them just 24/7, boom, just complete demonization. Don't be surprised. Okay, so it says, who are the black Israelites at the center of the viral standoff at the Lincoln Memorial? All right, so it says black Hebrew Israelites who believe they are descendants of the ancient Israelites protest on Capitol Hill in Washington on November 13th, 2018. This was back then, which I did a video on that too, but this article was published at 7:11 a.m. on January 22nd, which is today. So it says, in the initial media turn, they were nearly missed, but a small band of Hebrew Israelites members of a historic but little known American religious movement may actually be at the center of the roiling controversy that has gripped the nation in recent days. It began with a now viral video clip filmed Friday at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, in which high school students from a Catholic school in Kentucky appeared to be in a standoff with a Native American elder, which he's an actor. He's an agent. All right, and this whole thing is set up. All right, it was set up. So it says, who was beaten on a drum. The boys, some wearing red hats with President Trump's 2016 campaign slogan, appeared in a clip to be mocking the man, a Vietnam veteran named Nathan Phillips. The clip was widely understood as being centrally about the dangers of Trumpism, and the teens were condemned. But a longer video soon bubbled to the surface, widening the lens. It showed how a group of half a dozen Hebrew Israelites had in fact been goading and preaching at both the Native Americans and high schoolers, using profanity and highly provocative language for nearly an hour. So now they're victimizing both the Native American, the so-called Native American, and the high school students, and painting the picture as the Israelites being the antagonist. It says Phillips later told journalists that he was seeking to diffuse tensions between the Israelite group and the high school students by stepping in between them. All right, and then you have these students talking about they were getting death threats and all this extra stuff. So hey, the fact that this is the Washington Post that put this up, man, it's out there, man. All right, and it's only gonna pick up pace and get more and more and more intense. Like the brother said in the chat, man. For those of you who are not built for this, man, you better run into the shadows now, okay? Because it's about to get real hot. All right, real hot and heavy. All right, and for those of you who don't have the heart for it, man, just dip now, just bounce, because it's not gonna be anything good that is gonna be said about us. All right, it says, but who are these Hebrew Israelites? Boom, now they go into it. It says, dressed in fringed black garb, some with scarves tied around their heads. They preached what to many were both abrasive and unfamiliar end-time messages, calling Native Americans literally descendants of the Israelite tribe of Gad, and white students cursed Edomites. And you see how they put in quotations as if it's not in the scriptures. And preaching that a nuclear apocalypse was around the corner. How did this relatively obscure group shoot into the national spotlight? They are members of the House of Israel. Oh boy, here we go, HOI. It says, which draws from what scholars call black Israelism. Wow. A complex American religious movement that can be dated to the 18th century, at least. Beliefs vary widely, but groups are bound together by the central tenet that African Americans are the literal descendants of the Israelites of the Bible and have been severed from their true heritage. A related belief holds that white people are Edomites, the genealogical descendants of Esau, the twin brother or the twin of Jacob. It says several distinct denominations or traditions have emerged over the years. Congregations and leaders differ widely, making neat generalizations tricky. Some read the Christian Bible and believe that Jesus was the prophesied Messiah. Others read only the Hebrew Bible. Some have moved into tentative dialogue and collaboration with wider American Jewish organizations. Others have not. The 19 and now they're gonna start bringing out all their different cropped videos and edited videos to try and demonize brothers and all that. But you know what? Look, it's whatever has happened has happened. Okay, so like the scriptures say, man. Uh, Man, this is actually quite a few scriptures that we could pull on this, but it just escaped my mind right now. I'm just keep reading. If it comes back, it comes back. It says the 1970s and 80s saw the rise of an innovative new branch of black Israelism centered around the organization named Israeli Tanakh School, known colloquially as One West, after its address on 125th Street in Harlem. See? Now, understand the elders constantly said, man, that back then, when they had their I believe it was if I'm not mistaken, it might have been their school in Bridgeport, Connecticut, or one of them. But when the whole 9/11 thing happened, they arrested them, you know, on claims that they were responsible for, or somehow related to it. So don't be surprised if they pull all those back up and then try to say, oh, these same men, what I mean? They do a false flag and say, oh, these same men, blah, 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 did this and that. Esau is just that we're not ignorant of his devices. All right. Now, being that now they have us in the media, okay, understand they're not gonna try to bring a fair side of the story or true light upon what the message we truly preach. They're gonna go to all these different groups, all right, that are carnal and that don't really teach the full truth of the scriptures, and they're gonna put that in the forefront. Okay. Now, when you look up Project Megiddo, all right, and you just type in Black Hebrew Israelites, because they got us in there as Black Hebrew Israelites. Okay, let me see if it's this right here. Oh, there it is. There it is. Black Hebrew Israelites. See? And they got a whole thing. But in here, okay, what they have us as is people who are basically supposedly forming some sort of violence against police and all this extra stuff. And they can come out easily and say, oh, the FBI has been monitoring them for this long and blah, 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 blah. And they're this and they're that. All these different things. All right. So it says, the One Westers saw themselves as radical reformers of early generations of Hebrew Israelites who had gone astray. They would troop out to street corners dressed in colorful and ornate capes and leather, vivid imaginings of what ancient Israelites might look like, transported into the urban culture of New York City. They were also early and eager adopters of new media, hosting local television slots and filming their often confrontational street ministry. It says doctrinal innovation said by insiders to be the product of divine revelation came to the One West School as years passed. All right, it says leaders developed their own modified version of Hebrew, which they claimed was in fact a true and ancient version of the language, free and from modern impurities. So apparently we're just making up stuff too, It says unlike standard Hebrew and which has several vowels, their language was spoken with only one wide ah sound and other idiosyncratic pronunciation. Shalom, for example, becomes shalom. See, so going back to the ancient Hebrew, they claim that we've instead modified Hebrew and we're basically speaking our own language, But when you look at like even hieroglyphics or even the commandments and stuff that the Native Americans wrote, all right, it has in the Paleo Hebrew, you know. So it says around the same time their outreach also expanded significantly. One Westers began teaching that it wasn't just African Americans who compromised the true Israelites. Other nationalities, ethnicities were also descended from the Israelites of the Bible. Puerto Ricans, for example, comprised the tribe of Ephraim, and Native Americans were the tribe of Gad. It says these people were the downtrodden of the earth. These people were the downtrodden of the earth. They argued whose past hardships were the results of their having strayed from the commandments of the Most High. Contemporary hardships facing these groups, such as poverty, police brutality, racism, gun violence, could be overcome only when they recognize their forgotten history as Israelites. Now, notice how they're spinning the narrative of making it sound unrealistic, making it sound like we're just creating our own scenarios to try and make ourselves look a certain way. You know, it says these are the people who constitute the nation of Israel. A leading teacher known as Masha said in a 1990s television appearance and notice how they're bringing out these names and they're bringing out these different things because they've done research on us. You know, in order for them to publish an article like this, they did thorough research so they can pick out certain things. All right. It said in a 1990s television appearance as an assistant held up a hand-drawn chart of the 12 tribes of Israel and their supposed modern-day corollaries. This is their true identity. Leaders also embraced an apocalyptic worldview, teaching that the world would soon come to an end, ushering in a time when the Israelites would assume their rightful places as rulers and the white man's time would come to a close. It continues, it says, in the 1990s and early 2000s, doctrinal disputes and an end-time prophecy gone awry caused the school to fracture several times. Today, there are at least a dozen organizations that have roots in the early One West School, with many other smaller groups or camps, in quotations, as they have often called drawing influence. House of Israel is one of them. Headquartered in New York, the group is led by a one-time member of the original One West School known as Zabach. According to the group's website, it has branches in 3 other cities, including Washington. Doctrines may vary slightly within the One West splinters, but HOI, as the group is commonly known, is still working straight from the original school's playbook by uniting and building up the nation destroyed by colonialism, imperialism, and slavery. Its website reads, our chief mission our chief mission is the uplifting of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, who are the 12 tribes of Israel, which this is true. Now understand that with them bringing these different things out, although they're trying to demonize us, is ultimately gonna wake up more people, all right, and push the word throughout the 4 corners, okay? Because the scriptures say here, all right, let's see if I can find it. This is 2 Corinthians 13, verse 8. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. See? So even though it might seem like they're coming against us, they're demonizing us, hey, to the elect, whatever way they portray us in the light, man, they're going to, like the scriptures say, my sheep heareth my voice. They're going to hear the words of the Lord. All right, so it says, in recent years, One Westers such as HOI have seen a huge boost in interest as a result of online outreach. There are thousands of videos on YouTube and dozens of Facebook and Twitter accounts dedicated to One West Hebrew Israelite messages. Typical videos look like the one that has now spread widely from DC. A related organization, Israel United in Christ, of course, IUIC, all right, was also recently thrust into the spotlight after rap superstar Kendrick Lamar featured snippets of his cousin, one of its members, preaching on his Pulitzer Prize-winning album. It says, with an elevated profile, Hebrew Israelite groups such as HOI have received significant pushback from organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center and Anti-Defamation League, which brand them as hate groups for their inflammatory messages about white, LGBT, and Jewish people, as well as from Christian groups that see them as a growing religious threat. So now you understand why every now and then they throw in a certain group or bring a certain thing that's related to the Israelites. Oh, first Kendrick Lamar claims he's an Israelite. Boom, then it dies down. Then the Southern Poverty Law Center claims that we're a hate group. Then it dies down. Then these people come. Then these people come. You know, all so that in the end they can all tie it together. Okay, so it says, meanwhile, other Hebrew Israelite groups that are not in the One West tradition diverge significantly in their beliefs and denounce the abrasive ministry of groups like HOI. But as the scene of their preaching spread widely over the weekend, HOI members claimed they were not instigators and were not threatening any real violence. One Westers also claim they are unfairly targeted by groups such as Southern Poverty Law Center. The HOI presence at the Lincoln Memorial was, for the group, quite mundane, despite the flurry of attention. Indeed, Israelite street preaching in parts of D.C., Philadelphia, and New York is commonplace, a familiar if odd accent to city life. All right, and then basically that's it. But understand that this being the Washington Post, all right, publishing an article like this, it's not gonna stop there. Okay, they're gonna keep it going. They're gonna keep it going, and they're gonna start with more and more demonization. You know, now they can say, oh, well, the Southern Poverty Law Center claims they're a hate group. Why do they claim they're a hate group? These are certain things they say. Blah 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 blah. You know. So hey, like brother's been saying, man, they're not gonna come after camps. They're gonna come after us as a whole. Okay. Whether you're this, whether you're that, they notice how they're going with the One West because that's when everybody was so called together at that point. You know. So hey man, just prepare, man. And if you don't have the heart to stand, which I got a quick precept, just stop now, man. All right. This is Hebrews chapter 10 verse 38. Okay, it says um I start at verse 37. For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith. And it's gonna take faith to overcome in these times, man. All right, with all the things they're gonna say and they're gonna push and the way people are gonna look at you, it's gonna take faith because a lot of people know, all right, what brothers do in their daily lives, you know. So they know who certain brothers are, what they actually do. So guess what, man? They might have been so-called neutral about it, but when all these different things start to come to pass, they're gonna start looking at you funny. It says, "But if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him." All right. But we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. Okay. So if you're an Israelite, you better be an Israelite through this persecution. Okay. Because if you don't stand firm for the Lord, man, He's not going to stand firm for you. All right. We have to go through this. We have to go through this, endure, and that way, look, man, we like the scriptures say, you got to carry your cross. All right. You do what you got to do. All right. If you want that kingdom, man, you got to go through the cost that it comes with. Okay, it's not just gonna be every day going out to the same spot, preaching and then going back home. No, all right, it's not gonna be like that. Okay, and I ended with this precept. All right, because ultimately it's gonna get to a point where we're not gonna be able to go out there and teach anymore because they're gonna start claiming that this is a problem, you know, and it's leading to this, and that. All right, so it says Amos 8 verse 11, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai." All right, and these people don't consider what we speak to be the words of the Lord. Okay, but understand when these things start to come to pass, that's when they're gonna consider. All right, they're gonna consider it perfectly. All right, it says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. All right, and that's what's coming to this place. First, it's going to be very hated, and then when the Lord flips it around, it's going to be the number one thing everybody's looking for. Okay, but you're not going to get answers. For those of you who are not of the elect, man, you're just going to be asked out. Okay, and for those of you who are sincerely pushing this truth, man, this is nothing. Okay, this is nothing. Paul said the afflictions of this world is not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. Okay, so we got to stay strong. All right, steadfast, and just continue doing the will of Yahweh by Shem Shai. All right, we knew that this was gonna happen. We know what's to come. All right, so we're not supposed to be shocked and surprised and wetting our pants when these things start to happen. All right, but you know I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Shai and Shalom.